part of a family is a full-time job, and it's not always easy. In fact, it's actually really hard. Consider becoming supportive by taking on some important baby-related tasks like diapering, which happens about 10 times a day at first. So you have a lot of opportunities to help out with diapering. You can help swaddle, you can become the expert at bathing your baby, and of course, offering nutritious food and drink for you and your partner throughout the day and night when you are not sleeping, which can be a win-win for everyone. Something that's really important for pretty much every couple having a newborn is dividing up your roles. How did y'all decide what your roles were?
Sure, that's a great question. And I love to say that we were like totally prepared and planned for that, but we weren't. I mean, we had to just figure that out as we went. I mean, I think there were times I wish I could read minds. I didn't know what to do, what to do sometimes, right? And so we didn't really, I don't think we knew to sit down and say, okay, when the baby's here, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. You know, you kind of just had to jump in. And for me, I was just figuring it out as we went. I hate doing the dishes, but I learned a little bit here and there and did, you know, had to get in and help out with that. Those things, stuff I wouldn't normally do, stuff that she would normally do, it would just pile up, right? If I didn't jump in and help or have somebody that was there helping. And I think I had to learn to let others help us, right? It's easy to want to take it all on and I'm going to do it all. But I was tired. You know, I'm like, I don't have the energy to think about, you know, like simple things like eating, right? You know, and so it's nice if you can have someone help, but you got to be okay too. Like it's just going to be messy, you know, and I had to just be okay with that. I think there's a little bit of that. It's going to be messy. It's going to be chaotic. It's not going to be this picture perfect, you know, moment all the time, right? And so kind of have to, like, if you're normally like house is perfectly clean, that's probably not going to be. You just got to like cope with that, right?
That's such a good point. I tell every new parent I know, like, set your bar really low for what your house is going to look like, your kitchen, because it is going to be messy. So if you're used to always having an empty sink before you go to bed, or a perfectly put together house, it's not probably going to happen.
Yeah.
And if that is an expectation, you're going to have to get help. You're going to have to either bring family or friends in to help, or if you're able to financially afford it, you can hire help to come in.
Sure.
Outsource those roles. The lawn or the cleaning, or like you said, maybe bringing in prepared food or having people prepare food, meal trains.
Yeah.
Those are all great ideas because you can't do it all.
No, and it was super helpful. With a newborn, you just lose track of time, you know? I mean, you don't know if it's midnight or 6 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
It blurs together.
It's just all blurs together.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, we should have eaten like 2 hours ago,
Right.
you know? Like, I guess we should figure that out. I mean, I think there's a lot you could do to get ready, but there's a lot that you just figure out as you go, and you'll start to see, I mean, something would start piling up, like, oh, I guess I should take care of that. I think I realized real quick what things she did that I took for granted and wasn't like, I'm like, oh, wow, that has to be done, this has to be done. So I did. In the beginning, I think stuff either doesn't get done or I just took on some of those chores and responsibilities. And you get past that first couple of weeks at home, and then I think then the balance starts to come a little bit better and trying to figure that out. But but the chaos never really settles down. I think it just, you know, I think it's there. It's just different ways, different phases of it all. So
I know every new parent is different. At one point with my first son, I really sometimes wanted to be alone with my newborn, and I was happy to have my husband just do all the household chores. And when we had our second, 3 years later, I would have loved if he took them both so that I could do just something like put some headphones on, listen to music, and I cook or I clean once I had healed. So we had to really talk about, you know, instead of assuming that he just would do all of the household while I had the baby, at some point I kind of wanted a break from the baby. and the 3-year-old.
Yeah.
And so I would have rather taken on the household responsibilities while he had the newborn.
Right.
And so I think it's important to not just go in assuming as the partner that you're just going to be doing all the things in the home, because that might not be what the new recovering mom wants.
Right.
So yeah, I think everyone has to, if they could maybe learn something from this, it would be talk about it before the baby.
Yeah.
And maybe set those expectations. And then, like you said, day by day, it can change, and that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and I think I made that, I made that mistake and kind of learned the hard way to just be able to take the baby that's, screaming, crying into another room, right? And give her a break, because I think she needs that time to just decompress, or get rest, because she's tired, right? And I think that was again, like as a dad, I felt a lot of times like helpless with a screaming baby. Like, what am I gonna do? I've burped the baby, I've checked the diaper, I can't nurse the baby. Like, what can I do now, right? And so it was more natural to say, okay, well, I'll take all the other kids, but taking the baby at the same time away, just to have that, that moment. And you never thought, I know my wife didn't think that, she would, the thing she worked so hard to have, right, a baby, but then as quick as she could, also being able to get a break, as well. And it's not a bad thing.
No.
I think you feel guilty for that. I know I did. I needed a break sometimes. I just needed to go, maybe go for a quick drive, or, I was quick to say, if we needed something, oh yeah, I'll go to the store. I'll do that.
Right.
Just to have that moment of, and you feel guilty for that. I did. I was I shouldn't feel like that, but it's okay. I learned it would be okay, to give myself time, but also give her time.
Right.
That we love the baby, right, with everything in us, but it's an emotional drain, when you're not sleeping, and the crying, and the, all of that. And then, like you mentioned earlier, hormones and all that stuff's raging too, and so you just, my wife would be just crying for no reason. And I'm like, was this something wrong? And no, I'm just, and I don't know why I'm crying. And I'm like, oh man, this is, that's something I wish someone would have told me about, right?
She will cry for no reason.
For no reason, and I'm totally not prepared for that, right?
And sometimes the baby's crying for no reason at the same time.
Same thing, right? It's oh my gosh, right? So, and I had to give myself permission to be okay, taking breaks, giving her a break, all of that. So that way we could be a better, in that next hour, on that piece of it.